all the help they can get, even the Amakosi fans cheering them on. Home fans are perhaps, or that particular group of fans, not looking too interested. But you know what? There's 30 minutes remaining to turn the tide and steer the ship back on course for the Sea Robbers.
Did I hear you say Kaizer Chiefs supporters supporting Orlando Pirates?
Yeah, they are. They're clapping for...
Evident.
Yeah, evident.
It's just great to see that South Africa takes precedence when it comes to international tournaments.
And Murekile Kwape ready to get us underway for the second 30 minutes. It's Pirates attacking from left to right in that white and black, while the men from Spain wearing blue from right to left there. They'll be attacking. Confirmation of the earlier scorer, that been Adria, the 20th minute head up. Interesting to note some of the comments at the halftime. Danny Jordan saying he's hoping that a lot of the Bafana's next faces and big names are going to come from such tournaments as the future champs competition.
I'm sure our junior national teams, with this age group, I think we'll be looking at the under-20. The players will come from Orlando Pirates, Sundowns, and a lot of the teams that have a presence here, but it's not only players that come from established PSL teams. South Africa is huge enough. We need to throw that net wide enough. I listened to Sia Nkosi, our colleague, speaking about where he's from. Opportunities are few and far between. You look at the likes of Kuruman, you look at the likes of far northwest, so much talent, and it needs to be unearthed. We need to throw that net wide enough to get the best. And when a national team is represented, we need to know that this is the best that South Africa has.
Yeah, you mentioned the likes of Kuruman going the length and breadth of the country. From places of the country, Raul being replaced by Brian. I mean, you look at a place like Venda, for instance, very difficult to get to Venda, but you know what, they're football mad. They're so much talent as well that perhaps far away from the prying eyes of the world and the cameras.
Certainly something for SAFA to look into, change the way they scout. I know formerly when we used to play in the national team, there was 24 national provinces to select, and from that 24 we'd congregate at a central place, play a tournament, and the 20 national team was chosen then, and then you have representation throughout the country.
Interesting food for thought indeed. Oscar, 14-year-old, looking to finish off where he started for coach Giuseppe. Hasn't changed anything except that move to get Daniel off and Brian on. Coach Maranye, he's kept it as is. Perhaps just looking to consolidate and continue with what his team has built on. It's an injury there to one of the Espanyol players, hard to tell. It's jersey number 4, that's a US. As you see at the bottom of your screen, the likes of Augustine Mahlono, Kantanta Mazibuko, Dumise Kampi and Azola Chobeni. The players that will know that the world is watching, South Africa is watching, then they would love to show the very same people that I just mentioned what they can exactly do, especially in the face of adversity. They have shown in bucket loads the Pirates at different stages of the tournament, the ability to bounce back. We're going to need to do it once again.
Temba, you were mentioning earlier that how good the MDC was for South African football. A few very good talents filtering through to the PSL. And as we mentioned in the half time, that this tournament has also produced a few.
Look at the likes of Lyle Foster, Rifosla as well. Not just only from a player perspective, Rulani Mukwena once also did a stint at under 17 level. So used to be continuation from under 17 to reserve league. to the top flight of South African football, and ultimately for the greater good of our national football team. Mahlonoka with a bit of Mchigacho, runs into traffic, asks a question to the ref saying, was I not foul there? The answer is no, son. A bit too elaborate, dear Mr. Mahlonoka.
You talk about Reeve Frostler, not only does he emerge from this tournament to make it in the PSL, the PE-born defender, he's also got a national team call-up, and he'll be playing his trade for Bafana Bafana soon.
Bafana Bafana in Zambia for the Four Nations Cup. Just hoping to iron out and work out a few things. Stuart Baxter's man. It's good to see them casting the net wide up, including the likes of Reeve Frostler. Really well-deserving player. Not wasteful there. It'll be also nice to introduce fresher faces, the likes of Ryan Moon, should he continue his rise.
To the moon?
To the moon, yep. You got it, thank you very much, Tika.
Certainly a new look Bafana, and we'll be looking in anticipation for better results, but I don't think it's going to start at the top. It needs to start under 17 and slowly progress through with a lot of continuity, patience, spread the net wide, and look to a more successful national team.
Yeah, and look at the model that the Germans have actually quite perfected in recent years. They start off under 17s, and they almost 80% of that squad moves over to the Mannschaft, to senior man team, and make the bulk of it. You see the Spanish as well. I'll use an example that's quite relevant to future champs Gauteng, the Athletic Madrid, a team. 1 year they won it, came back with a completely different squad, different faces, because the team that had won it the year before that one had moved on to a different age group, and so on and so on and so on. Sub for coach Maranye. Spamandam Cezanne has ran his race, and up steps super sub. It's a youngster who also has a goal to his name, and that being Mark Hakim.
Mark Hakim came on in the first game and he got himself on the goal sheet.
Yep. Quickly stolen in by Choueni. But Espanyol fight back. It's been a game like that. Oh, that's a nasty looking tackle there from Peki Krele. Enforcing the law is the general.
Are you referring to the new Minister of Police?
Nope, there's a new Peki Krele in town. 16-year-old from Tsakani. That's on the football pitch.
Let's move from being a politician to a sports person.
Not the same WhatsApp group, unfortunately.
Soon he'll be throwing his hat into the Minister of Sport.
I see what you did there.
Going to be a big ask to fill the shoes of Mbaks. Mr. Fikile Mbalula now no longer with the sports part, but I really enjoyed his stint as a sports minister. Very visible, very encouraging, especially for the sports people in all different sporting codes: boxing, golf, football, athletes.
Always a bundle of energy and excitement that as well. Never a dull moment when Razmataz is around. Anyway, enough with the politics. Is Jorge. Does it move on to Alish? Looking to unleash some of his players are further forward, but Pirates doing well to just block their route. Afford Mahlonoka being held back there. That was a cynical foul from Yowes, centre back, who surely will get the second yellow from an Espanyol perspective. Game really, Stika, has struggled to. Not one team has really got momentum continuously throughout the half. It's been stop-start for one reason or another.
Certainly a tactical foul once again.
Shonoka gives it over to Puda. Leashes one. Low to the right of Cesar, who probably would have seen that late. The ball moved through a bunch of bodies, swerved as well. Great save from Cesar.
Would have certainly done well to keep the ball on target and keep it low to a bunch of bodies. He's been trying a lot from out of the area.
Shonoka goes deep. Does he find a man in white? Instead he finds a Spanish player. Look at that, how quickly they close down the options for the Pirates player, but he does ever so well to move the ball over to Sitrodi. He dug out across, and it's where we started exactly. Before that cross, they take it short. It's a Sekampi. They whip it in. Again, the Spanish stand firm. And that's the big striker on defensive duty, Adri Lucas. Dangerous pass, but was pinpoint. Gives it to the man who just got booked US. Chobeni clever around the corner. Slowly making his way into the boxes. Chobeni. At the edge of it all is an unmarked Tumisikampi. Had they been able to spot him, he was in the best place. He was the best placed player in white to try trouble the Espanyol.
Certainly good technique there by the young Orlando Pirates player. Got it on target. One certainly feels that the game needs something, as you mentioned, Temba. A goal for Pirates should just light up the stage and get the fans once again behind them.
Lovely return there from Brian. Loses out though. Sekampi on the march. They do see him. Is he going to get to the ball first? He does. He has them backpedaling. Sekampi. Not sure who in fact he was trying to cross to there. Casper the Ghost, or I don't know.
Sekampi doing great to get to the byline, but what you normally need to do when you get to the byline is just pull it back to the edge of the 18. But chances were limited. Not much men in the box for him.
Alex, that man who just came on there is indeed Alex Office Alessandro.
I could hear your Spanish coming through there. I almost said Alessandro Del Piero.
Done with the different accents, because I know you're gonna make fun of me saying I watch too many Italian cooking shows. I'll get you for that one. Machanoka battles away. The Spanish though are the ones who get the ball. Game's definitely gone into a bit of a lull. But one team has been able to consistently apply pressure through quality football possession and incision. Chobeni provides an outlet for the new man, Marks Hakim. They go back on the 45, looking to create those angles. It's been nearly, but not close enough for Pirates as Marks unleashes a shot out of nothing. We mentioned he's a super sub. He makes it a habit to come off the bench and make his name announced in big lights. Marks Hakim with the second of the tournament. Pirates needed a moment of individual brilliance, and they got exactly that.
That's what real strikers do, nothing fancy, half a chance. Any way to put it in the net. It looks like he just toe poked it there. A bit of a fortuitous bounce for Orlando Pirates there. Took it in his stride. Defenders around him. Toe punt. 1-1. Pirates back in the game.
Oh, finally, the happy people are happy. Vaja joy. You know what, Stika? Mark Hakim's goal cancelled out just like that. From the kickoff, the Spanish said, you know what, por favor, thank you very much. We're gonna come back, senor.
That is
Simon Marange in disbelief. I'm in disbelief.
In frustration. I'm sure he's been telling his players over and over and over, guys, switch on once we just got back in the game. We've seen it yesterday against Spartak Moscow. As soon as they equalized, Spartak Moscow, a minute later, took the lead.
Man, that was so swift. Barely having gotten the happy people on their feet. Their smiles turned to frowns.
Looks like the Pirates defense just went to sleep there. The striker just waltzed his way through the defense, and a good finish.
I was gonna say, ironically, before that goal from Oscar, a 14-year-old with his first of the tournament, saying Pirates have been most effective when they've kept it simple. We saw yesterday they went direct, boom, they got a goal. Today, through Mark Hakim, decided to buy a ticket and he won the lottery. He took a shot instead of trying something overly elaborate. They got a goal. And the Spanish go up at the other end and score. And say, anything you can do, we can even simplify it even more.
He's certainly been in the wars. Very brave player, not one to pull out of a tackle, always looking for the ball, trying to make things happen, not afraid to shoot, a lot of skill.
Also is not scared to mix it up as well, get his foot stuck in. Gives as much as he gets. There's a confirmation of the second half where the second half that's needed to come alive, and that's exactly what has happened. The Pirates thinking that they found some sort of reprieve. A few seconds after scoring the leveler, they were behind again. From a goal from Oscar. Get threatened. Stick out the first half, he unleashed a vicious shot on the edge of the box, just outside the box. That Blake Frazen got two good gloves through on that instance. A bit of a daisy cutter, as Grant Bissett would call it. That was all she wrote.
It has to be said that in the second half, despite the second goal from Espanyol, Orlando Pirates really has taken charge of this game.
Tabani Gumete is about to come on. The two subs as well, waiting on the wings for our coach Josep. Looks like Xavier as well as Aaron. Really do love the fact that they only have one name. Don't have to struggle with the Russians, 13 letters. My word. Clearly, who finds the skipper Buda. Couldn't connect though. His teammate on that far side, that'd be Macampi. Spanish come knocking. Bad looking tackle there. The Spanish come knocking again. It was that man Brian. And Ntanta Mazibuko is the player that's going to be replaced by Tabani Kumete. Mazibuko ran his race, put his best foot forward. Today, though, wasn't enough. As the coach Josep responds in kind and brings on Aaron, as well as Xavier.
The fact that both teams have semi-finals gives the coach an opportunity to give others an opportunity to feel the competition, come in, play against a different type of team with a different culture. Very tricky. I know as a European teams it's very difficult to contain the skill and flair of African players and South American players, so certainly this will be a value experience for all of the players that has traveled to South Africa for the future champions competition.
Here's one for you. As you just said that, it just hit me or occurred to me that the 3 teams that have qualified for the semi-finals, the coaches of those teams have barely really tinkered too much with their squad. Always a 1 change or 2 changes max. Give everybody a chance in the squad. Don't find themselves on the podium spots. Interesting.
I think that's always sparks debate when you play competitions like these. Is a team coming here for the development purposes? Are we going to play the Orlando Pirates way, or are we going to play to win? And certainly you look at the Belgium team. They came here last year with a young team, Club Brugge. This year, many similar players in here. They got the experience, and it's time to compete now.
Yeah, you saw them coming back from adversity, having lost their opening game, to come back strongly. I think Augustine Mahlonoka has ran his race. Astika stayed down on that far side. Was already reeling from injury. Attempted 1-2 between Jorge as well as Lucas. And keeper Frazen bullets the ball out to give his teammate an opportunity to receive medical treatment. I don't think he's going to continue much.
If you remember Mahlonoka in the first game, he started to cramp, and we were wondering if he was going to last the entire tournament, because having it be the first game certainly put some stress onto the coach if he was going to cramp, knowing that a half is only 30 minutes. So maybe a bit of fatigue, a bit of adrenaline, getting the most of him.
Another point that sparked my juices, you mentioned cramping and so forth. There's a question for you. You look at the teams that have made it again into the semi-finals. The teams that started off, you wouldn't say quick out the blocks. Club Brugge lost, Spartak drew, and Den Haag also, I think, drew their first game as well. So the teams that were fastest, almost Usain Bolt-esque, the likes of Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, they find themselves out of the semi-finals berth.
Certainly league football and tournaments is a different type of football, and yes, you do gain experience and gain momentum. We witnessed it at the highest level, where the Spanish national team came to South Africa for the 2010 World Cup. They lost their opening match against Switzerland and ended up victors in Holland, and as the tournament progressed, they just became better and better acclimatized. And as you mentioned, a team like Club Brugge in this competition started off slow against a very good Mamelodi Sundowns, very structured, skillful, very difficult to overcome Mamelodi Sundowns. Unfortunate that they don't see themselves in the semi-finals. And yes, Brugge has just gained momentum, and let's see if it could take them all the way.
Nice to see that the fans are definitely taking time out of the public holiday to come watch a bit of Itiski with us, even in terms of goal attempts. Of course, there is another game coming your way after this one. It's AC Reggiana versus Pitvis Wits. Dylan Shepherd looking to do what no other African coach has done before him. Spanish, they're fluffing their lines there, Aaron. And that's get to 8 to the semi-finals. He's done that before. But his number one mission is to win the whole thing, get to the finals and win as well. Prince Likete joins us for the last 7 minutes of the game. Augustine Mahlonoka, thought he wasn't going to be able to continue. He's already limping the first time he was hauled off, and he came back on the pitch. Chobeni loses out, almost gifting an opportunity to the Spanish number 10.
Very evenly matched in the pass completion. between the Spanish side and the South African side. A lot of that possession was seen in the center of the park.
Pirates haven't used their wings far too often today. And the instances that I do remember them using their wings, they haven't done it too effectively.
Certainly looks like the top three for Orlando Pirates are too scattered, too far away. So it makes it a bit difficult to combine the passes and combinations as they did when they scored the first goal.
See a majority of the play being concentrated, as Tika mentioned, in the center of the park. Most of the foot traffic there. As the two teams try to gain ascendancy through there. They put it at the edge of the box. Marks moves it over to Chubeni. The ball slightly, the bounce wasn't to his favor, so as a result had to change his mind. You could see he was plotting to take a shot, but then ball never came down in time. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this game. 5 minutes for Pirates to at least to get a draw, eke out something. Chobeni, lovely turn, leaves his man on the turf. Chobeni continues, puts it on a plate for his buddy, being Tawani Kubete. Kubete though, straight at Caesar, didn't have to move too much. Now up the other end, that's Adri Lucas, desperately love to be on the score sheet. Adri Lucas, Icelandic striker. Kumete again, gives it to Marks. Hakeem Marks, left the ball behind, he was in.
Just got away from him. Striker, nothing fancy. Looks like a very industrious striker he is, as is the lanky striker of Club Brugge.
You know what, when Pirates do get it right, it really is easy on the eye. Those quick 1-2s that eliminate defenders. It's a matter of consistency though for these under-17 players.
As we mentioned, that Orlando Pirates just playing in patches. They look to be world-class in 5 minutes and a bit woeful at the back in the next 5. So it goes down to a bit of inexperience. Can't be too hard on the boys. It's a learning curve, and I'm sure they'll just come back better and stronger.
Speaking about strength, how about that from Lucas, holding off his man as the Spanish are in. Through that man, Aaron tries to round the keeper. If it wasn't for the quick thinking of Lungile Makambi, who thought to himself, let me cover the near post. He saved keeper Fraser's blushes.
Speedy winger, just goalkeeper looked like he just went to sleep there. Thought the ball would just run out and almost got himself into trouble.
3 minutes remaining of this hour match. The Spanish will be looking to eke out a few more seconds away. Keep Pirates in their own half. And it's a job done. That's Alessandro. Get the ball to Brian. Seen a lot of the bosses coming on in the second half. Oh, Spanish nearly almost finding a third. Xavier had found himself in all sort of space. As a Chobeni looks to find either of Kumete or Sekampu. Found neither. Sekampu. We got the ball to Lekete. Prince Lekete thinks about it, decides to cut out on the outside of the player. Kumete backing his man into the box. Tawani Kumete. Now the Spanish contingent turning the attention into attack. Adri Lucas. It is chest strap being tighter. An opportunity.
The Espanyol winger, number 7, Aaron, just strikes me to be very similar to the Barcelona winger De La Feu.
Gerard De La Feu is now at Watford. Yep. Really big fan of De La Feu. Not perhaps the most of a technically gifted Spanish players, but what he does do, he does extremely well. You don't find an out-and-out traditional winger in the modern-day game.
Very straightforward, very effective winger. Makes his way to the byline, cuts it back.
It's ironic that De La Feu came through the Barca structures. They couldn't find a space for him. Placed him with Felipe Coutinho. Before them was Osman Dembele. Different sorts of players compared to De La Feu. You would have thought that Pirates are busting through via Gumete. You would have thought that they needed something different for those games where the tiki-taka doesn't work.
Certainly need a plan B.
3 minutes of referee's optional time. Referee Rekile Kwapa. Was it a decent game? Just having a words, a good blocker from Marcos. In the meantime, I think the Spanish player has been told to go seek some medical attention if there's a bit of blood. The medics are just dealing with him because of a bit of blood there. He's at the bottom of the picture if you look quickly. Now it's Lucas.
Well spotted by the referee.
Yep. Uri doesn't agree with that one from referee Rekile Kwapa. He becomes the third Espanyol player to go into the referee's book.
I think it's very seldom that you see a player agree with a referee's decision, especially if it goes against him.
Lovely footwork from Krele. Krele powers up past his man. The keeper says Superman-esque as a punch. Oh, Krele, I'm not sure what happened there. Wow.
I think he found himself in unfamiliar territory. It's better suited at the back, and I think he just went for a small little dive.
That was a big dive, more than a small Anyana one. Good play from Buddha, but Lucas, I just feel aggrieved a bit. I think he did well to use his big physique and frame. Just keep the ball in. Buddha trying to outmuscle him. Gumete gives it over to a fan favorite, Siklodi. Zilungile Makambi, an indication of how desperate Pirates have become. Absolutely ran to go get the ball from the throw-in, but it will not help one jot because the Spanish have came, they've seen, they've conquered. It is hola instead of hola when it's all said at the end of the day. Espanyol getting their first win of the tournament at the expense of the Sea Robbers, who started the tournament so well, only for it to just fade away as it went. But nonetheless, a learning curve, a steep learning curve for these Pagachuchu under-17 players. The Cesar was strong in between the sticks, really impressive. The likes of Aaron, when they came off the bench, he's at the number 7. Made sure that the Spanish ensured that they got over the line. Blake Fraser also had his good moments in the game. But I think Coach Simon Maranga will say in his post-match comments that finishing let them down today, and also as times only really playing once they were a goal down. They went a goal down and never recovered from there. Espanyol winning 2-1 at full time.
Okay. As things stands, Espanyol booking their place potentially in the semi-finals. Of course, that depends on how the bid vs Wits and the Italian side game ends up. Right now, I'm joined by the Orlando Pirates coach Simon Morangi. Coach, your thoughts on the game?
It was a game of two halves. I thought we played really well in the second half, better than we did in the first half, moved the ball a lot quicker.
Coach, they were really pressing and you really tried to come back, but your team kept a fighting spirit.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to instill in these boys, lots of character and to keep playing the same way that we play all the time. Even when we go down, unfortunately, like yesterday and today, you just have to keep playing the same way. It takes a lot of bravery, but we got to do the right thing.
And Coach, lastly, now you go into the playoffs. How are you preparing for it?
Nothing changes. Like I always say, we'll still try to play the same way. Hopefully we can get fresh to play again on Friday.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
That was coach of Orlando Pirates, just really saying that things will not change as they prepare for the playoffs. Now joining me is the coach of the winning side. Coach, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I'm happy because my players, I think, that make a very good match, and for us it's important to play with players of 1 year old and 1 year more, and for us I think that it's a good game.
Coach, I saw that there were a bit of tempers flying from the side of your camp. Not too happy about some of the decisions coming from the referee.
Well, it's a little bit different maybe in Spain, but it's part of the play. I think that it's things that will be forget now, and then just happy for my players, and then good game of the Orlando Pirates and the trophy too.
Coach, lastly, you just won 2-1 on your game, and depending on how the next match ends, you might be going into the playoff, into the semi-finals. How are you preparing ahead of that?
Yeah, I think that it's difficult to go to semi-finals, but I think that my players do it very well, the groups, and then we will see the next match, and I hope that we can stay in semi-finals.
Thank you so much, Coach.
You're welcome.
As it stands, Espanyol now sits on 4 points. They have summited to Group D, but depending on how bid vs Wits ends their campaign, we really don't know who is going to book their place in the semi-finals. Well, that's where things end in match game 5 right here at the Nike Football Center. The commentary and the highlights are standing by.
Coach Paul Joseph says he's very happy, and you'll understand why as you watch the highlights. So take you through them. Pirates flattered to deceive sometimes in the periods of this game. Raul got to the edge of the box, and Adri Lucas though had positioned himself just near the penalty spot, but he couldn't connect the dots in that instance. The Pirates have put a nice move together. 3 players converging on that one. Nice rasping shot from the eventual goal scorer, Adria. He fired a warning shot from there early on in the first half. They should have known better. Interplay supreme between the Espanyol players. There was Adria again with a shot, but he was to use his head this time around, nicking in the front post and unmarked. The Pirates caught cold. Really will be kicking themselves. The Pirates defenders all converging in the same area. No one being put to the back post. There was somebody in the front post. There was an attempted volley from Azola Chobeni as well. Looked to warm the gloves of impressive Caesar. Safe as houses. And was looking up to the heavens for Pirates, but they did. They get back into the game through sub Mark Hakim, putting his laces. A bit of a toe poke finish, old school style toe poke finish. As a result, didn't have too much time, had to improvise. It was good enough though for Mark Hakim, who got the second of the competition, again off the bench. But Espanyol through Oscar, they hit the lead. A beautiful, well weighted, well crafted bullet of a shot that left Blake Frazen absolutely frazzled. Stats-wise, was Orlando Pirates who got back into the game because the Spanish dominated, not dominated, but they edged possession in the first half. Slightly in their favor. Orlando Pirates did one in the second because they were chasing the game. Perhaps that's a consequence of that. Even shots on target. It's all about finishing in this game of football. And of course, the next one, all eyes will be on Pitt vs Wits, your sole remaining team that can do the business for Africa and the African participation. There's a certain Italian outfit that's looking to spoil the party. AC Reggiana and Pitt vs Wits. 5 on your World of Champions up next.